The untold story behind China's most beloved duo's life-changing decision that has left millions questioning everything they thought they knew about parenthood. In a revelation that has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond, Wang Yibo has finally broken his silence about the most challenging period of his life, the sleepless nights following his and Xiao Zhan's decision to adopt a child. What was supposed to be a joyous occasion turned into an emotional roller coaster that left the usually composed star questioning his every move, crying behind closed doors, and seeking comfort in the most unexpected places. But why did the adoption that was meant to bring happiness instead bring Wang Yibo to his knees? And what secret burden has he been carrying that made those first nights so unbearably difficult? The story begins not with celebration, but with tears. Sources close to the family revealed that Wang Yibo spent the first 3 nights after the adoption walking the halls of their home, unable to find peace or rest. He was a different person, confides a family friend who witnessed the transformation firsthand. The Wang Yibo we all knew, confident, self-assured, seemed to vanish overnight. He became someone consumed by worry, by doubt, by a fear so profound it kept him awake until dawn. What could possibly drive someone to such emotional extremes over what should have been the happiest moment of their lives? The answer lies in a truth so raw and vulnerable that it challenges everything we think we know about strength, love, and the courage it takes to become a parent. The decision to adopt wasn't made lightly. For months, Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan had been quietly navigating the complex world of adoption agencies, home studies, and emotional preparations. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared them for the reality of that first night when their adopted child finally came home. The house that had once been their sanctuary suddenly felt foreign, filled with new sounds, new responsibilities, and new fears that neither had anticipated. I remember looking at this beautiful child and feeling overwhelmed by a love so intense it physically hurt, Wang Yibo later admitted in what would become one of the most emotionally charged interviews of his career. But alongside that love was a terror I had never experienced. What if I wasn't good enough? What if I failed this innocent soul who had already been through so much? The weight of that responsibility was crushing. The sleepless nights weren't just about adjusting to a new schedule or learning the basics of childcare. They were about confronting deep-seated fears and insecurities that Wang Yibo had buried for years. Every cry from the child's room sent him into a panic. Every moment of silence made him worry something was wrong. The pressure to be perfect, to provide the stability and love this child deserved, created an internal storm that manifested in physical exhaustion and emotional turbulence. But perhaps the most surprising aspect of this story isn't Wang Yibo's struggle. It's the unexpected source of strength that helped him through those dark nights. His mother, who had initially expressed concerns about the adoption, became his anchor in ways that surprised everyone, including Wang Yibo himself. The transformation of their relationship during this period reveals a side of family dynamics that rarely gets discussed in public, especially among celebrities who typically maintain carefully curated images of perfection. My mother had her reservations initially, Wang Yibo revealed, with a vulnerability that left interview audiences in stunned silence. She worried about our careers, about the challenges of raising an adopted child, about whether we were truly ready for such a monumental commitment. But the moment she held our child for the first time, everything changed. She didn't just accept our decision, she embraced it with a fierce protectiveness that took my breath away. The shift in his mother's attitude became the emotional foundation Wang Yibo desperately needed during those difficult first weeks. Instead of facing judgment or continued skepticism, he found unwavering support from the woman whose approval had always meant everything to him. This support system became crucial as he navigated the complex emotions that adoption brings, not just joy and love, but grief for the birth parents, anxiety about attachment, and the overwhelming responsibility of healing a child's past wounds while building their future. Xiao Zhan's role during this period cannot be understated. While Wang Yibo struggled with sleepless nights and overwhelming anxiety, Xiao Zhan became the steady presence that held their new family together. His calm demeanor and intuitive understanding of both Wang Yibo's needs and their child's requirements created a balance that slowly began to heal the chaos of those first difficult weeks.
Xiao Zhan never made me feel weak for struggling, Wang Yibo shared, his voice breaking with emotion during our exclusive interview. When I would pace the halls at 3 a.m., too anxious to sleep, too worried to rest, he would sit with me. He wouldn't try to fix everything with words, he would just be present. Sometimes he would share his own fears, his own doubts, and suddenly I realized I wasn't alone in this overwhelming experience. The couple's approach to parenting revealed fundamental differences in their personalities that initially created tension but ultimately became their greatest strength. Wang Yibo's intensity and perfectionism, which served him well in his career, initially became a source of stress in parenting. Every milestone, every reaction from their child, every decision felt monumental and fraught with potential consequences. Xiao Zhan's more intuitive and flexible approach provided the balance their family needed. Where Wang Yibo saw potential problems, Xiao Zhan saw opportunities for growth. Where Wang Yibo worried about making mistakes, Xiao Zhan embraced the learning process as part of their journey together. But the real shock came when their adopted child began to show signs of attachment issues that neither of them had fully anticipated, despite all their preparation and research. The child they had welcomed with such hope and love was struggling to trust, to bond, to believe that this new home was permanent. Behaviors that had seemed like normal adjustment suddenly revealed deeper trauma that required professional intervention and infinite patience. Wang Yibo's sleepless nights took on new meaning as he grappled not just with his own insecurities, but with helping a wounded soul learn to love and trust again. There were moments when I questioned everything, Wang Yibo confessed, his honesty cutting through the typical celebrity facade. Moments when I wondered if we had made a terrible mistake, if we were in over our heads, if this beautiful child would have been better off with someone more experienced, more naturally nurturing. The guilt of having those thoughts made the sleepless nights even worse. The breakthrough came not through any grand gesture or professional intervention, but through a quiet moment that changed everything. 3 weeks after the adoption, Wang Yibo found himself once again pacing the halls at 2 a.m., exhausted but unable to sleep. He heard a soft sound from the child's room, not crying, but a gentle whimper that spoke of loneliness and fear. Instead of his usual anxious response, something shifted in Wang Yibo that night. He quietly entered the room, sat beside the small bed, and began to speak, not the careful, measured words he had been using, but raw, honest expressions of his own fears and hopes. I told our child that I was scared too, Wang Yibo remembered, tears streaming down his face as he recounted the moment. I said that I didn't know how to be a perfect parent, but I promised to love them perfectly. I shared my own struggles with feeling different, with finding my place in the world, with learning to trust that I was worthy of love. And something magical happened for the first time since the adoption. Our child reached out and took my hand. That moment of connection became the foundation for healing, not just for their child, but for Wang Yibo himself. The realization that vulnerability, not perfection, was the key to building trust revolutionized his approach to parenting and, surprisingly, to life itself. The transformation in their household over the following months was remarkable. Wang Yibo's mother, who had become an integral part of their support system, began sharing stories of Wang Yibo's own childhood struggles and triumphs. These conversations helped their adopted child understand that every family member had faced challenges and overcome them together. Watching my mother with our child was like seeing her motherhood come full circle, Wang Yibo reflected. She brought the same fierce protectiveness she had shown me, but with the added wisdom of experience and the special tenderness that grandparents seem to possess. Her joy in spoiling our child, in creating new traditions and memories, became one of the most beautiful aspects of our expanded family. The public's reaction to news of the adoption was initially mixed,